Hi, I'm Julia Shotzberger, and I'm also contributing to the Hygge Crafts at Home project. And today I'm going to teach you how to make these adorable little origami boxes. And when you have completed them, you could fill them with some Hershey Kisses for a friend, a little note to a family member or a neighbor, pop it in their mailbox. Maybe for grandchildren, fold up a little dollar bill or a $5 bill and just make it a little something special. The paper that we're going to be providing you with today is all different varieties, and it's going to be up to you to decide how you want to combine the colors, the patterns, and obviously there's no right or wrong way. The only thing I will suggest right off the top is that if you end up choosing a pattern that is very symmetrical, like this beautiful paper, you want to try and use that for the top, or make sure that you're not having to cut off any rough edges, because as soon as you've cut off two sides, like I did with this box, you end up with that perfect symmetrical pattern not being symmetrical in your box. So if you're a kind of a type A person, that might bother you. The other thing I want to point out is that these beautiful papers are coming to us in a glued folder, and it's a little hard for me to separate them. So when you get your paper, just check and make sure that the edge that has come out of the box is not too rough to be using. And that's why in this case I ended up cutting down and making a little bit smaller box. We're also going to be sharing a YouTube video with you, which is where I learned how to do this. And in that one, they specifically are talking about 6 by 6 inch square paper, but there's no reason that you can't make the boxes smaller. The trick is that you want to make sure that your bottom box is 1/4 inch smaller on two sides. And again, if you decide for your bottom that you want to have a symmetrical pattern, then make it so that you're cutting 4 sides. So you're only doing 1/8 of an inch off each of the 4 sides. All those things you'll kind of figure out as you play around with it. We're providing you with enough paper to make, several boxes. So don't be dismayed if your first one doesn't work out perfectly. All right, ready to go? For our origami box, we're going to need just a few extra supplies from your house. You're going to need a very sharp pencil. You're going to need a nice ruler, scissors. You might possibly want some glue stick just to kind of glue down any edges that are popping up a bit when you're all finished. But otherwise, all you need is the paper that we're providing for you. So first, look through your paper, decide what combinations of patterns you want to use for your top and your bottom. The top, if you're doing the largest size, leave as is. The bottom, you need to take off 1/4 of an inch on two sides to make it so that it's going to fit in between each other. So I've already done this side. I marked off the 1/4 of an inch, drew a nice line. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I'm just taking off that 1/4 of an inch and making small marks that then, or if you have a paper cutter at home, if you're a big crafter, you might have that at home, and then you'll be all set. So you make some of those marks along. I kind of preset this as well. And then I'm just going to combine my lines. And then you just need to cut that down. And then you'll be all set, ready for your bottom as well as your top. And again, take note of the paper. I am cutting off that edge that came out of the supply of the paper that's got that little bit of a ragged cut to it. Okay, so let's start with the bottom. You want to have the pattern side up, and you're going to fold once in half. And the tighter you get your edges, the better it's going to end up folding. You're going to open it up, and you're going to do the same again this way. And this is going to help to mark your center of your box. Okay. So those lines aren't quite as important in terms of being a really sharp crease. Now we really want to get them sharp. I'm going to fold each corner in so that it's coming up to that center point. These papers are so nice and thin that they're very, very easy to fold. I haven't tried it at home with any of my kind of, other papers, but it might be worth trying if there's a pattern, if you have some paper at home that you've just always loved and you'd like to use it in your box, go right ahead. Each of these come in. Like so. I'm doing this a little quickly for the purpose of the video. You can take a little more time really lining things up. Okay, so now we're going to take one of our sides and we're going to fold up again to that center point. Just keeping everything as square as possible. And turn it around, do the same thing on this side. Come to that center. One thing I saw that's an option as well with your boxes is you can actually cut a small square of cardboard to make a more sturdy bottom if you want. And then you would just tuck that under when we're ready to fold. So once we have those two sides done, we're gonna open it back up and we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite sides. Just kind of use all the fingers you've got to make sure everything is laying flat as you fold. And again. All right. And now, believe it or not, you are ready to create your box out of just those folds. So once we have all those lines folded, all those edges nicely pressed and tight, you're going to open up your paper and then you're going to start and create corners that allow you to fold underneath. And it takes a little bit of playing around, but they'll start getting into place. You can see how that's working. And you just fold that end over and do another tight little edge. And there you go, you've got one side already. And then you do the same thing on this side. And it's just the second side always seems to go a little easier because it's like lining itself up. Fold it over, and you have your box, just like that. So as I said, if you were a little disappointed in how it's laying flat, you can just take a little bit of glue stick, put it underneath, and then that'll help make sure that those bottom pieces are all nice and secure. And then you can choose what you're going to put in your treat box and then do the same thing with your top piece. Bit of glue just down here in the corner, just to make sure that when my gift is given, that's secure. And here we go. That's all we have to do now is do the same thing with the top, and we have a lovely little surprise for a friend. We have the top of the box, slide the two together, and you are ready to present this to a friend. A nice little surprise during this time of COVID when we're all just feeling just that little bit down, and you don't have to get too close to hand it off. There we go. Enjoy making your origami boxes, and we'll look forward to hearing at the library how you went, and tell us who you shared them with. Have a great day.